Hello, and welcome to Cooking with Todd. This is Todd. For today's video, I've decided to do a 2-for-1. Mushroom vegetable stock and mushroom and beef risotto. To start off, you're going to want to go ahead and do your mushroom and vegetable stock. For this recipe, you're going to need the stems from the baby bella mushrooms. You're also going to need some vegetable base, or you can alternatively use fresh vegetables, which for that you're going to need 1 whole carrot, 1 whole onion, 3 ribs of celery, and you're going to want to chop those into about 1-inch pieces. You're also going to need 3 bay leaves. You're going to need 1 star anise. You're going to need 3 to 4 cardamom pods and about half a teaspoon of whole black peppercorns. To start this recipe off, you're going to want to go ahead and pull the stems out of your mushrooms. And to do that, you will just go ahead and grab it and twist, and then it will come out just like that. Sometimes you'll leave a little bit in there, but you can just go ahead and pull that out, or you can leave it. Now, like this mushroom, it kind of looks like it's going bad, but it should be fine. You can actually go ahead and probably throw that into stock after you rinse it off. And then you can go ahead and put your stemmed mushrooms back in the container they came out of. And then set those aside for now. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a mesh strainer and go ahead and put your mushrooms in that. Okay, so now that you have your mushroom stemmed, and there is the one bad mushroom that I mentioned, it's not necessarily bad, it just feels a little slimy, which is a sign that it is starting to go bad. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that one in the stock. Now at this time you're going to want to go ahead and rinse your mushrooms to get any of the pasteurized compost that is left on here. Since these are cultivated, these are not wild, there is no dirt, which the extra water does not really matter because you are going to want to fry these to get them golden brown, and that will take about 10 minutes. I will go ahead and bring you back after these are rinsed off and I'm getting ready to fry them. Okay, so I got my mushrooms rinsed off at this point, and what you're going to want to go ahead and do is you're going to want to go ahead and get a stock pot or a chef pan. I have a chef pan that is 6 quarts, so it is more than enough to hold what I need. You're going to want to go ahead and add in a high temp oil. This is avocado oil, and you're going to want to go ahead and fry these for about 10 minutes or until all the moisture has evaporated, and you are going to want to continue to cook those for a couple minutes after until they are nice and golden. At that point, I will bring you back. Okay, so my saute pan is warmed up and the oil has gotten a little too hot, which is okay. You're going to want to go ahead and add this in. And you're going to want to go ahead and fry this for about 10 minutes. stirring it frequently. And at this point, you'll want to go ahead and lower your heat to about a medium. Okay, so this is going to need to go for about 10 minutes, and you're looking for all the moisture to pretty much evaporate out of these at this time, and you're just frying these for flavor. I would highly recommend you do this step. You do not have to, but it just adds an extra depth of flavor to the stock. So I will go ahead and bring you back once these are about finished. Okay, so these have been frying for about 10 minutes now, and you can go ahead and see that they are, if it would focus, nice and brown. Guess my camera does not like to focus for some reason right now. But anyways, now that this has been frying, you will want to go ahead and add in 3 quarts of water. Okay, I ended up only just adding 2 quarts at this time to go ahead and start it. You do not have to use 3 quarts. That is just a recommendation. At this time, you're going to want to go ahead and add in your vegetable base, or you're going to want to go ahead and add in your fresh whole vegetables, which was the 1 carrot, 1 onion, 3 ribs of celery, and you want to cut those into about 1-inch chunks. But I'm going to go ahead and just use the vegetable base because it's just easier for me at this time. And you're going to want to go ahead and just add in about 2 teaspoons to start. I'll go ahead and just do 3. And you're going to want to go ahead and give that a mix. Okay, so now that that is in there, you're going to want to go ahead and add in your 3 bay leaves and the rest of your spices. And you're going to want to go ahead and give that another good mix. I should also go ahead and mention at this time you are not going to want to add any salt. Because this is going to boil down to about half its volume. So if you salt this now, it is going to be over salted by the time it is finished. So you'll want to salt this at the very end, and you're going to want to let this simmer for about 1 to 2 hours, and I will go ahead and bring you back once that is finished. Okay, so this has been simmering now for about an hour and a half, and you can see that it has significantly reduced. At this time, you'll want to go ahead and just strain it through a fine mesh strainer into like a half-gallon pot. Okay, so after you have your stock strained, you should have about 1.5 quarts. This is a half-gallon pot, so you should have about 1.5 quarts. That should be about enough for the risotto recipe that we'll be following. At this time, you can go ahead and let your stock sit overnight in the fridge if you desire to do so. Me, however, I am not going to do that for today's recipe because I do not feel like waiting. Either way, it's still going to be delicious. So I will go ahead and bring you back when I am getting ready to start prepping for the risotto. Okay, so now I'm back and I am getting ready to start the risotto. What you're going to need for the risotto portion, you are going to need 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. You're going to need 1 to 2 shallots. You're also going to need a couple tablespoons of butter and an equal amount of olive oil to butter. You're also going to need some carne picada. You're also going to need, of course, the 1 pound of mushrooms that the stems were harvested from for the mushroom and vegetable stock. You're also going to need some rosemary leaves, and of course salt and pepper, which I do not have out at the moment. To go ahead and get started, you're going to want to go ahead and start slicing up your mushrooms, and you are going to want to slice them up to be about a 1/4 inch thick. And you got to keep in mind that mushrooms really like to shrink, so you're going to want to cut them up to be about that thick, and that will be thick enough. Once you get these sliced up, you can go ahead and start preheating your desired skillet. I so happen to be using the exact same pot from the stock, so if you're going to use the exact same pot from your stock, you'll want to go ahead and just rinse it out with some water and get that heated up after you get these sliced up. And I will go ahead and bring you back once I get ready to throw these in the skillet. Okay, so now my mushrooms are sliced up, and you're going to want to cut them to be about that thick, and you're going to want to go ahead and set those aside, and you're going to want to do about 2 tablespoons of butter, and you're going to want to go ahead and add that into the pan, and I will go ahead and switch the camera angle so you can go ahead and see the pan. Okay, so I got the camera angle changed, and what you're going to want to go ahead and do is add your butter. And you're also going to want to go ahead and add in your olive oil, so in this case about 2 tablespoons. That should be about enough. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to go ahead and want to let this butter melt, and you're going to want to let it go until the butter starts spitting or sizzling. And at that point, you're going to want to go ahead and add in your mushrooms. And I will go ahead and bring you back once that time gets here. Okay, so now that the butter is heated up and it's starting to spit and sizzle like this, you'll want to go ahead and just let it go for just a little bit longer, because I don't think it's quite hot enough yet. Okay, I think it's perfect right about now, so I'll go ahead and just add in the 1 pound of mushrooms. And you're going to want to go ahead and let this saute for about 10 minutes. And you're going to notice that they are going to start to stew, because they're going to release a lot of the water inside, which is totally fine and it's totally normal. Once they get to that point, you're just going to want to go ahead and let them stew until the water all evaporates, and then they should start eventually frying at that point. Once they start frying, you'll want to go ahead and let them fry for about 5 minutes. And once they've fried for about 5 minutes, they should become a nice golden brown. I'll actually just bring you back once it gets to that point. Okay, so at this time you can go ahead and see that there is quite a bit of moisture being released by these mushrooms. So once it gets to about this point, it's been about 2 minutes, you can go ahead and start cutting up your 1 to 2 shallots. And also you can go ahead and finely chop up the garlic. And you are going to want to stir this about every 2 to 3 minutes. That way the bottoms of the mushrooms do not burn. That is in contact with the pot. Once they are done, I will go ahead and bring you back. Okay, so at this time you can tell that the majority of the moisture has been evaporated. And at this time, since I am making a beef and mushroom risotto, I will go ahead and add in my beef. And this is going to create a little bit of additional moisture, So you're going to want to go ahead and let this cook until the moisture from this has also evaporated. And the good thing about carne picada is it's literally small little pieces of beef, and it's like diced beef. So you'll want to go ahead and add this in, and this is going to go ahead and cool your pan down so it will prevent it from burning. And so you're also going to want to go ahead and turn your heat up a little bit. And you're going to want to go ahead and let that go for a little bit. At this time, you should also have your shallots diced up. At this time, you do not want your garlic done. That will be literally the last thing you do while you are sauteing this. And with that, I will get back to you at that time with what to do there. While this is going, you can just go ahead and do whatever. There really ain't any additional prep you need to do at this time. So I will bring you back when it is time to do the next step. Okay, so at this time you will notice that it is starting to spatter like that, which you will want to go ahead and just give it a mix. And now at this time you will want to go ahead and add in your rosemary. About that much should be enough. I rarely measure anything. I just go by eye. So I'm going to guess that was about half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. And you're also going to want to go ahead and give that a mix. And at this time you can go ahead and lower your heat a little bit up to about a medium high. Okay, so I'm happy with this at this time. What you're going to want to go ahead and do is you're going to want to go ahead and move the beef and mushrooms off to the side. And you're going to want to go ahead and add your shallots. And you're going to want to go ahead and saute that for a little bit. Right there in the center. Okay, so now you're going to want to go ahead and just mix this up now that those have gone for about a minute. And then now you're going to want to go ahead and make another well in the center. This time you're going to go ahead and crush in your garlic. Now I forgot to go ahead and peel this ahead of time. That's one of the advantages of a garlic press. You do not need to peel. Now, are you going to get a little bit of peel in your end product? Yes, but you will most likely never even notice that it's there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and want to just mix that up so it does not burn. And now at this time you're going to want to go ahead and add in your risotto. I will go ahead and get that opened up and bring you back. Okay, so I got about 1 cup of risotto here. And you're going to want to add that in there and toast it for a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and just add in a little additional handful just for safe measure. And you're going to want to just go ahead and toss this around a little bit to kind of toast it. Okay, so this has been going for a little bit, and you can see it's toasted pretty nicely. You can go ahead and just mix this up together and keep toasting it for a little bit. This just adds a little extra nutty flavor. You don't have to do this. Alternatively, you can go ahead and start your risotto around this time on a back burner in its own pan. But I kind of find that as an unnecessary step, and it just adds an extra dirty pot. So I just do everything here in one pot. So now at this time, you're going to want to go ahead and add some white wine, or alternatively brandy, which just brings out the mushroom flavor even more. Now I'm not using anything expensive or fancy. I'm just using some cheap $5 wine. Normally I would use something more expensive, but the store I go to did not really have the brand I like, so you're going to want to go ahead and add about 1/4 of the bottle. And that is to deglaze the bottom. And you're going to want to let some of this evaporate. Okay, so now this has been going for about 1.5 minutes now, to 2 minutes. You're going to want to go ahead and add in your prepared vegetable and mushroom stock. Just enough to kind of cover everything. Just about like that. Now you're going to want to go ahead and let this go until it looks like it's drying up. Then you're going to want to go ahead and add in some more of the broth, and then I will go ahead and bring you back once this is to that stage. Okay, so at this point you can see that it is kind of looking like it's drying up, so I will go ahead and add in a little more stock, not too much. We don't want to add too much. And go ahead and just give it a stir. And you'll want to go ahead and just repeat and copy this step until the risotto is just a little bit crunchy still. By the time it gets to your plate, it will be perfect and al dente. You'll want to go ahead and just turn off the heat if you have an electric range, or just cut the gas if you have a gas stove. And I will go ahead and bring you back once it gets to that point. Okay, so I'm happy with this at this point. I went ahead and got a small pot on my back burner that I got some frozen broccoli in for a side. You can use whatever side you want for vegetables. I am happy with this at this point. So you're going to want to just go ahead and give it a quick stir. And you're also at this time going to want to go ahead and add in a little more butter. And that's 1 tablespoon. You're also going to want to go ahead and grate in some Parmesan cheese. This is Parmesan cheese from Italy. Okay, so now that the butter's in, and you're now going to want to go ahead and add in your Parmesan. However much you want to add, about 1 cup should be enough. And you're not going to want to really salt it at this time. That stage will come a little bit later. The only reason you're not salting it at this time is because the Parmesan cheese has a lot of salt already in it. So you can just go ahead and grate this in. I would recommend using real Parmesan, not the stuff that you can buy on the shelf that's not refrigerated. Just because it has a better flavor. Okay, so I'm happy with that amount of cheese right there. You're going to want to go ahead and just give this a good mix. And you might notice that it will firm up a little bit because of the added cheese. At that time, you can go ahead and add in a little more of your stock. Okay, so like right now, I think it's just a little too thick for my liking, so I will go ahead and add in a little more stock. About that much, about half a cup. And you're going to want to go ahead and just give it a good mix. And it will thicken back up. The risotto will go ahead and absorb the rest of the moisture. At this time, you can go ahead and just take it off the heat and dish it out, as the broccoli that I've chosen for my side should be ready fairly shortly. And one thing before you do end up dishing this out is you will want to go ahead and taste this for salt and pepper. So just taste a little bit. And to me, it's just about right. So I'm not going to add any extra salt, but I will add some pepper. I'll go ahead and end this video right here. I hope you enjoyed. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button and leave a comment or two. And thank you for joining me on this journey of mine, and I hope you continue to watch. Thank you.